Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be doing some more back bends, but we'll be focusing more on symmetrical back bends as well as an introduction to dropping back from standing into full wheel and also from camel into full wheel. So we have some fun stuff planned for today and I really hope you enjoy yourselves. As always, take breaks as necessary. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. Skip over things if you're not ready for them yet, and just do your best. With all that, please close your eyes or gaze at a point out in front of you and connect to your breath. Become aware of the state of your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, and even your physical body, what your energy level is in this moment. Taking a moment to gauge where you're at today and how to treat yourself most today. Take a full breath in. Exhale completely. Full breath in. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale. And gently open your eyes. You will need 2 blocks, or if you don't have 2 blocks, just the 1 block will be fine. And this will be for back bend stuff in a little bit. Come into Supta Urdhva Hastasana, meaning on your back. Extend your legs out straight and reach your arms over your head along the floor. Hook your thumbs. Extend up through your fingertips as you reach out through your heels. Move your rib cage back toward the floor, tailbone toward the ceiling to straighten your spine out the best you possibly can. Keep reaching length through your arms and legs to pull your torso longer. Take a few deep breaths here. Then take your arms out like a sorrel cactus. Bend your knees. Place your right ankle on top of your left knee. Widen right knee to the right and clamp your heel toward your hip so your knee is safe at the angle. Pull your legs toward your torso, then grab your thigh or your shin on your left leg with your hands. Use your arms and legs to pull your legs in deeper. Feel free to rock side to side, focusing on the right side of your back. Just getting a nice little hip opener and right side of your back massage here to start. Let go of your shin. Take your arms out like a cactus. Then scoot your hips slightly to the right. Let your legs go off to the left so the sole of your right foot and your outer left leg land on the floor. Keep pressing your right ankle and knee into each other. Clamp your left heel toward your left hip. Then keep your belly turning to the right for this subtle twist. Lift your legs back up. So far, so good. Hips to center. Lower your right ankle. Extend your left ankle on top of your right knee. Widen your left knee to the left. That's not exactly extending, but place your ankle to your knee. Then pull your legs toward your torso. Grab your shin or your thigh of your right leg with your hands. Use your arms to pull your legs in deeper. Feel free to rock side to side. It's a cloudy day as I'm recording this, and sometimes the clouds mess with my brain. I don't know about you, but that happens. So for me, it's a great day for back bends. Slow, steady breaths. Breathing into your hip, into your left side of your back. Let go of your legs. Take your arms out to the side, swirl cactus arms. Scoot your hips slightly to the left as you let your legs fall to the right. And squeeze knee into ankle, ankle into knee. Root your left hip back. Twist your belly to the left. And breathe here. Untwist, uncross your ankle, hips back to center, then roll all the way onto your belly. So far it's nice and slow, but we're going to pick up the pace here in a little bit, so enjoy this slowness for while it lasts. Take your arms alongside your torso, close your fingers, point your palms up, squeeze your knees and ankles in, push your hips down into the floor, move your shoulders back, and then squeeze your outer armpit toward the front of your armpit, the back of your armpit toward the front of your armpit. Push your hips down, lift your torso up. Squeeze everything in toward the midline, lift your chin, move your shoulders away from your ears but back toward the ceiling. Locust 1. Don't hold your breath as you hold the pose. Then lower all the way down. If you hear strange creaking sound, it's my boyfriend in his chair. We have a very noisy computer chair. All right, now come back up. Lift everything off the floor. Move your shoulders back. Now lift your arms up, legs up. Squeeze knees in, ankles in, thumbs in. Lift your chin. Breathe here. Don't hold your breath. Reach your arms further back and up, just like your shoulders. And rest. Next one, last one like this. Interlace your fingers behind the back of your head. Make sure it's your skull and not your neck. Very important. Put your elbows back down onto the floor with your hands pushing into your head pushing into your hands, so there's a little bit of resistance. Bend your knees. One at a time, lift and lower your knees just so your flesh is even. Let your knees be a little wider than your hips, but squeeze your ankles and knees in. Now lift your elbows out to the side, lift your chin. Lift the base of your skull away from your spine. Then lift your chin a little bit higher like you're trying to look up. Push the soles of your feet up toward the ceiling, and then lift your knees off the floor. Widen elbows to the side, squeeze your shoulder blades on your back, and breathe here. And lower. Rest a couple moments. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. With both hands on the floor, spread your fingers wide, hands outer shoulder distance apart, point your index fingers straight ahead. Reach your heels toward the floor. You can bend and straighten your knees or just straighten your legs or bend them. And hold still, or you have that option to move around in your pose. Push your arms away from your legs, legs away from your arms as you move your rib cage toward your spine. Tailbone toward your heels. Slow, steady breaths. Step your right foot between your hands. Spin your back heel to the floor. Take your hands to your hips and lift your torso up. So you're like in your warrior 1. This time, interlace your fingers behind your back. Move your shoulder blades back, then work your arms to or toward straight. Stay working here or tone your abdomen, round your back, and bring your right shoulder to your right thigh, or take your whole torso inside your right leg for humble warrior. As you rotate your outer right hip down and under and to the left, then push your left foot down and to the right as you fold. Inhale, stand up, reach your arms up, warrior 1, briefly. Lower your hands, down dog, push back. Step your left foot between your hands. Spin your back heel down, make sure your left knee is above your left ankle. Place hands on hips, lift your torso up. Find your hands behind your back, non-dominant clasp. Move your shoulder blades back, lift up through your heart, and reach your arms longer. Tone your abdomen around your back, bring shoulder to knee, or shoulder inside your leg. Squeeze your legs toward each other, and then rotate your left hip down into the right as you push your right foot down into the left. Inhale, stand up momentarily. Reach your arms over your head, warrior one. Exhale, fold, and down dog. Step or jump to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana, knees either bent or straight, whichever one gets your ribs to your thighs. Push heels down and apart. Reach top of head towards feet. Bend your knees slightly, place hands on hips, shoulders back, and then stand up. Crescent pose. Reach your arms over your head. Interlace your fingers. Extend pointer finger across your thumbs. Lean your hips to the left, torso to the right, be as sideways as possible. Move your right rib cage a little bit more forward. And just by the way, I'm not mirroring you. I'm not a good mirror, so I rarely do it. Move your ribs back, tailbone forward, belly toward your spine. Reach your arms longer. Inhale, stand up. Switch the clasp of your fingers to the non-dominant clasp. Hips to the right, torso to the left. Move ribs back, tailbone forward, belly toward your spine. Chest up, shoulders back, arms longer. Stand up. Lower your arms by your side. All right, standing camel, hands bound to Utkatasana, hands bound. So here we go. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other. Straighten your arms. First, bend your knees slightly. Press your tailbone forward. Now work your legs straight by pushing into your heels, then lift up through your chest. Reach your knuckles back, but down as you lift through your heart. Maybe look straight up toward the ceiling. Try not to squeeze your shoulders into your ears, but rather keep your shoulders down and away from your ears. Stand up, keep your hands bound, bend your knees. Round your back, forehead toward your knees, arms overhead. You can go a little or a lot in the bend of your knees, depending on how you feel today. Aim is toward parallel to the floor with your thighs. Inhale, stand up. Reach both arms up. Then exhale, palms in front of your heart. Take a wide stance facing the long edge of your mat. Take your arms wide to the side, line up your ankles and wrists. Turn your toes in slightly so your heels are a little bit wider than your toes. Place your hands on your hips, torso forward, thighs back. Then fold forward, arms under your shoulders, arms straight to start. Lift your chest forward as you push your thighs back. Move your rib cage toward your spine. Stay working here, walk your hands a little further back, arms straight. Keep your chin out of your chest as you bend your elbows. Move shoulders back and away from your ears as you fold forward. Now bring more weight into your toes, so your sitting bones and your heels are about in the same line. If you were to look at your pose from the left or the right, your hips would be straight up in line with your heels. You can bend your knees to get into this pose, totally fine. Inhale, halfway lift. Place hands on hips, move your shoulders back, then slowly stand up. Take your arms wide to the side, turn your right toes out. Straighten and strengthen your legs. Tone your thighs, lift your kneecaps, lean hips to the left, torso to the right. Place your right hand to shin, ankle, floor, or even a block outside your right shin, directly under your shoulders. Tone and turn your abdomen to the left as you push your hips slightly forward, torso in line with your right leg. You can gaze up, down, or out in front of you. Durga just wanted to say hi. Look down at the floor, bend your right knee directly above your right ankle. Right hand outside your right foot. Then extend your left arm beyond your ear. Tone and turn your abdomen to the left. Push your hips forward, torso back, just like you did in triangle pose. look at the floor, take your left hand inside your right foot, then step your back foot in one step, turn your left toe sharply forward, square your hips by moving right hip back, left hip forward, lengthen your spine on an inhale, then on an exhale, fold forward, heart first, head last, walk your hands forward or back so your arms are straighter as you round your back and bring forehead toward your knee. Parsvottanasana. Next inhale, lengthen your spine. Bend your right knee and step your left knee down on the floor. Square your hips by moving right hip back, left hip forward. Lift your torso, place hands on hips. Keep your tailbone moving forward as you lift your torso higher, then reach your arms over your head, Anjaneyasana, monkey lunge. Push right foot down and back, left knee down and forward as you take your hips maybe a little bit lower, maybe right hip to right heel. The lower you lower your hips and the more you back bend, the more you must push your hips forward to take it out of your low back. Focus on getting the back bend more in your middle and upper back instead. Lower your hands inside your right foot. Turn your right toes slightly in. Turn your left heel to the floor and left toes to the ceiling. You can either stay up or lower your hips to your right heel for sideways Anjaneyasana. Stay either hands on the floor or lean back into your right heel and place your palms in front of your chest. Take whichever variation feels best in your body today. Lower your hands to the floor, straighten your right leg. Prasarnapadottanasana, line up your toes. With a long spine, fold in between your legs. This is like a very, very abbreviated version of moon salutations or Chandra Namaskar. We're skipping over a couple of poses. Next, inhale, lengthen your spine, hands on your hips, shoulders back, stand up. Re-widen your stance if it's narrowed. Take arms wide to the side, turn your left toes out. Make sure your heels line up. Turn right hip or lean right hip to the right, torso to the left. Take left hand under shin, ankle, or under your shoulder on the floor. Tone and turn your abdomen to the right. Get as sideways as possible. Push hips forward, torso back in line with your left leg. Reach all four limbs longer. Bend your left knee. Left hand outside left foot. Extend your right arm beyond your ear. Tone and turn your abdomen to the right. Push hips slightly forward, torso back. Keep the length in both sides of your body, hips away from armpits. Lower your hand inside your left foot. Step your back foot in one step. Turn your toes sharply forward. Lengthen your spine. Move left hip back, right hip forward. And fold heart first, head last, forehead toward your knee. Feel free to work your arms straight forward or straight back as you round. Next, inhale, lengthen your spine, hands under shoulders. Step your right foot back slightly to lower your right knee. Lift your torso, hands on your hips, lift your torso up. Move your shoulder back, lift up through your heart, tailbone forward, maybe reach arms up. Feel free to join your palms or keep hands shoulder distance. Press tailbone forward, lift through your heart, maybe sit your hips a little bit lower. Keep moving left hip back, right hip forward. Keep reaching longer through your torso. Lifting through your chest, pushing tailbone forward the whole time. Lower your hands inside your left foot. Turn your left toes toward the right corner of your mat, and then your right heel to the floor, right toes to the ceiling as you sit toward your left heel. Again, you can be up high or down low, whichever feels best. Maybe hands on the floor, or if you can do it, hands in front of your heart. Lengthen through your spine. Push right foot down and towards you the whole time. Prasarnapadottanasana. Straight legs, lengthen your spine, and fold forward. Heart first, head last, in between your legs. Extend the top of your head toward the floor. Push inner and outer feet down. Lift your inner arches of your feet up. Next inhale, lengthen your spine. Place hands on hips. Move your shoulders back. Then slowly stand up. All right, step or jump feet together. Arms by your side. Mountain pose, facing the front of your mat. Take a mountain pose here just to resettle your feet into the floor, extending through the top of your head, reintegrating into your body. Then find your block or two. I believe we did this in the last video. You're either going to imagine my mat is the other way. You're going to place your blocks so that when you lie back on it, there's a hole for your spine about 2 thumb widths apart. So on my mat, it looks like this. If you have one block, keep your block that long way, and you're going to fold over it. You just got to be more careful and lift the part of your back that's on the block away from the block. So I'll show you what this looks like on this one, just really quick. You want the bottom tips of your shoulder blades to be about level with the edge of the block. Then once you lie down on the block, you're going to grab your hands behind your head, squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other, and lift your chest. Now, if you've got the 2 blocks, same thing. Line them up. Make sure the bottom tips of your shoulder blades line up with the bottom edge of the block that you're lying back on. Lift up through your heart, lay back. It might take a couple of tries to get it in the right spot, and it should cover the top part of the block should basically be underneath your shoulder blades, like the flatter part. Now from here, take your hands behind your head if you haven't already. Interlace your fingers all the way to the webbing. Push head into hands, hands into head, just like you did in your belly down back bend Makarasana. So you're gonna move your arm bones back so your armpits hollow out, then pull your elbows in toward your face. Lift your chin, then curl back, and your upper back lift and lower your head. Now from here, extend back through your elbows as you reach your chin level with your elbows at the same rate. Doing this nice big opening stretch here. Stay here or lift your head to the level of your chest. Take your hands back behind you. Move your arm bones back, maybe touch the floor with your fingers, and then reach your head back. Again, keeping the base of your skull lifting away from your spine. And breathe here. Place your hands behind your head. Use your fingers to lift your head up and lift your torso a little bit. Place your hands on the floor, push down to sit up, and then you can remove the blocks from your mat. Okay, lie on your back. Place your elbows next to your rib cage, feet on the floor hip distance, and point your toes straight ahead. One at a time, walk your shoulders in toward your spine for C2 Bandhasana bridge pose. Push the back of your head, shoulders, feet down, and lift your hips up. Push more through the inner edges of your feet. Grab onto the outer edges of your mat or bind your hands under your hips. Again, walk your shoulders in until your spine lifts away from the floor. Keep your chin lifting, push down through your feet, lift your outer hips up as you push your inner thighs toward the floor. Lengthen from hips to armpits, lift your rib cage away from your hips, push your hips away from your rib cage on front, sides, and back. Release your hands, lower your hips, rest knees together, feet wide, hands wherever comfortable. Take a few breaths here. Regroup, recenter. It's a very heavy back bend class from here on out. So pause the video, take longer breaks if you need to, take your time, be gentle with yourself. All right, full wheel pose. Place your feet flat on the floor, point your toes straight ahead. Take your hands beside your ears, a little bit wider than your shoulders. Turn your fingers slightly out. And then take your shoulders, move them back. Just like you did when your hands were behind your head, you're going to suck your arm bones back. Push your feet down, lift your hips up, then push to the top of your head. You might just be hanging out here though, and that's fine. So go wherever you can go. If you're on the top of your head, be on the top of your head. Move your shoulders toward your hips, up toward the ceiling, then push your feet down and away from your head, roll toward your nose. Then maybe straighten your arms. That may or may not happen today. Whatever happens today, be where you are fully and completely. It's all good. Push more through your feet. Try to line up your shoulders with your wrists. Lower all the way down. Rest. Feet wide, knees together. If you need to roll your wrists, roll your wrists. If you get wrist pain in this pose, what's happening for most people might be you might be putting too much weight in the heel of your hand. Do your best when you're in these postures to load more into your finger knuckle pads rather than your wrist pads. It will do wonders for your wrists. It's the same reason why we put more weight in our fingers and our knuckle pads in down dog. Same idea. Okay, roll to one side. Sit up. If you have blocks, you can do this on blocks. I'm going to show at the wall and on blocks. The first one I'm going to show is the one on blocks. If you have blocks, you place the blocks as so. I'm going to just do it facing the camera so you see it. Then you place them about shoulder distance apart. Elbow, make sure it's at the very center of the block. Otherwise, you might topple over. And just be mindful that that could happen, so just be very, very aware. For me, this is too narrow, so I want to take it a little bit wider. And you might just need to adjust it. Then you join your palms, walk back. I'm pretty close to the wall, so typically I wouldn't want to be this close to the wall. So you're going to lift your armpits up, reach your chest toward the floor, and then try to get your head below your arms. Once you do, you can bend your elbows and reach your fingers back. This can also be done on the edge of a table, a countertop, or a bed. Or you can also do the wall variation, which looks like this. Elbows, forearms down, armpits back, then you walk back, push your arm bones into the wall, lower your head, and then reach your head toward the floor. This one I feel like takes more strength. I feel like you get more stretch if you're doing the tabletop, block top, or furniture top. You can do it on a couch edge too. It's nicer if you are in more this position rather than this position. All right. So once you're done with that, come on out. Now, we're just getting right into the back bends today. Now we're doing what's called Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. You might work in bridge, you might work in Urdhva Dhanurasana, or top of the head on the floor Urdhva Dhanurasana. So work in any of those, or try this. Come up into full wheel. Do your best. Do it just like you did last time if you got up into full wheel. Place your hands, lift your hips, push your feet down, and then push all the way up. Now, lower your head to the floor behind and between your hands. So not level with your hands need to be in front of your head. Stay here, or I lift my heels, lean more on the back of my head, and then place my elbows, then roll back to my elbows, lift my head off the floor. And then you can realign your elbows with your shoulders. Suck your armpits back just like you did in Makarasana. Push your inner feet down, outer hips up. Move your shoulders back, pump your chest forward, and stay here, or keep sucking your arm bones back, engage your middle back, and maybe lower the top of your head between your hands for the full pose. Take your time. Release your hands. Now to come out, you can either push back up into full wheel or cross your hands, palms facing your head, and then just roll down. Lower down. Rest knees together, feet wide, hands wherever comfortable. It's a big one. Won't spend too much time on that. All right, now roll to your side. Come back up. All right. Have a seat on your feet. So do toes curled under first. Squeeze your knees in and then slide them back as close to your toes as you can and have a seat. From here, interlace your fingers in front of your heart. Pull your fingers apart. Place the top of your hands on top of your head. Squeeze your shoulder blades on your back. Then push your arms towards straight. Ribs back, arms long, tailbone forward. Slow breaths. This is actually supposed to be calming on the respiratory system because it helps to send the blood flow from the arms down into the heart. So you'll see a lot of people when they run, they reach their arms above their head when they need a break, either like this or like that. And it just helps to bring that blood and oxygen back into the heart so it can flow more freely and calm the heart rate. Lower your hands, squeeze your knees and ankles in, point your toes straight back, and then have a seat on your feet. From here, squeeze your knees, ankles in, interlace fingers behind your back. This is the back bended variation. Move your shoulders back, lift through your heart, reach your knuckles toward the wall behind you. Now press tailbone forward, reach arms back, and try to get your knuckles to the floor, to a block, or just do hands on hips like we've done before. Lift your chest, move your shoulders back. Breathe here a few more breaths. Slide your knuckles in, sit up, release your hands, down dog, push back. Push your arms and legs longer. Slow your breath to a deeper, even rate. And take your knees to the floor. Camel pose, everyone's favorite. If you need padding, you can either roll up your mat and fold it up a few times. You can also take a blanket under your knees, which I prefer. And then have your knees on the padded part of the blanket. You might want a blanket actually after all for later. So go ahead and curl your toes under. We're doing toes curled under variation today. If you want to do tops of feet on floor, that's fine. Just know that this is where we're going today for a reason. Place your hands on your bottom, fingers point down, thumbs point out. Now lean your hips back, then press your tailbone forward. Then push through your knees and feet, lift your hips back forward and up, shoulders back, stay here. Or take your arms up to the side like you're how wonderful. Pull your elbows back and down toward your hips, lift through your chest. Stay working here, or lower your hands to your heels and hold on for dear life. Push your hips forward, lift your chest up, then throw your head back. Keep your skull lifting away from your spine, even though your head is back. Push hips forward, chest up, head up last. Palms in front of your heart. Full breath. Child's pose. Take your knees wide, big toes together, reach forehead, tip of nose to the floor. Allow yourself to relax. Take a few breaths. Downward facing dog. Lengthen your spine. Lower your knees. All right. Now, this is where I think having some padding for your knees might be beneficial. So here I have my blanket. or whatever padding you have. Not a pillow, that's probably a little bit too much, but something with, just a little bit so your knees don't slam into the floor. So you want to measure it out so that your knees would land about halfway or somewhere on the blanket. And you do that by curling your toes under, leaning back, taking your knees off, and then lowering your bottom to the floor. Keep your feet there, and then lie down on your back. Do your best not to move your feet. Now with your feet on the floor hip distance, point your toes straight ahead. We're going for full wheel. You can totally watch this and then rewind it and then do it with me. All right, place your hands on the floor, setting up for full wheel, or just do bridge pose, or just do Urdhva Dhanurasana, and stay there. Lift your hips, push down through your hands, either go top of head or straighten arms, and then push your inner feet down. If you're gonna walk in, use your hands to walk in instead of your feet this time. Push through your inner heels, reach your heart toward your wrists. Now walk your hands in, lift your heels up. Walk your hands in, lift your heels up, and then lower your knees to the floor, stand up on your knees. Even better, take your arms out to the side, like How Wonderful Arms. Pull your elbows down, lift up through your heart, tailbone forward, remember. Lift through your heart, curl back, now reach your arms back, look back, lift your knees up, Urdhva Dhanurasana. Then you do that as many times as you can tell. It's very, very exertive. So you do that as many times as you want. Sometimes once each is enough, especially if you're first trying it out. But in your practice, if you're practicing at home, you can do it until you get exhausted if you want. So yeah, when you do that, you want to make sure that you're not leaning too much to one side or the other so that you don't crank on one side of your spine or your ribs. So just be very aware that it can kind of jack up your ribs or jack up your spine a little bit if you're not careful. So, all right, stand up. Okay, we're almost done. Don't worry. So come to a wall. Now, the wall is a really useful tool for dropping back because it's there if you need it super close, and then you can walk away and go further so that you have a longer reach and so on and so forth. So I'm going to show you. You get pretty close to the wall, maybe like 2 blocks width distance away first. Then you do all this setup that we did in standing camel. Bend your knees, push your hips forward, lift up through your heart, push down through your heels. Reach your chest up, push down through your heels, curl back. Then you reach your arms up, palms on the wall, palms back, stand up. And you walk away from the wall. Do the same thing, get all that length in your spine, do what you need to do to get the alignment. Look back. You can either have arms out like this or straight. Reach back, palms to the wall, push off the wall by pushing into your heels, and stand up. And you walk away from the wall. How wonderful. Lift up through your heart, curl back, reach back. At this point, it's better for me to just drop back. If you're dropping back, do all the same stuff. When you drop back, you load your legs. Load your legs, load your legs, load your legs. And you curl, curl. Bend the knees, hands down. Now, if you've never dropped back before, please don't do it without a spotter. Just wait for an in-person class unless you're super, super confident that you won't fall. I'm not going to come back up. I used to be able to do that pretty easy, but I'm not going to do it today. So if you're down and you do drop back, just lie down on your back and rest for a moment. When you're finished, do come down and rest here for a moment. We'll be here for a few breaths. Slow your breathing. back bends like that can be agitating. Back bends a lot in a row can be agitating, or they can also be like caffeine, like I've mentioned last week. So if you find yourself still amped up later, go back to one of my gentle classes or do some hip openers, twists, forward folds, and just kind of use that to help balance you back out if you need to. All right, roll to one side, sit up. Okay. Extend your legs out in front of you. Good news is we're cooling down. Dandasana. With your legs out in front of you, you can either have bent knees or straight legs. Then take your left knee to the left. Pull your heel as close to your left sitting bone as you can. Your knees can be 90 degrees or wider. Make sure your sitting bones are flat on the floor. Then gently, slowly turn to your right. Your spine and your back can be tender after a lot of back bends like that, so just be super, super gentle. Stay working here, or maybe bend your knee. You might never bend your knee, but because your back might be sore, you might bend your knee today. And that's totally fine. Fold forward, heart first. Grab shin, ankle, or foot with your left hand. Turn your torso more toward the floor. Widen your left elbow to the left and take forehead to knee. And then if you started with a bent knee, you might find you can straighten it now. It's just a more gentle way to get into the posture after all of these back bends. The spine is tired. The muscles of the spine are tired, understandably so. Next inhale, slowly sit back up. Extend your left leg straight. Janu Shirshasana is explained in BKS Iyengar's Light on Yoga. Go to the other side. To be a counter pose for back bends. A very good counter pose for back bends because it helps to stretch these back muscles when you turn over toward your leg. You fold forward, grab shin, ankle, or foot. Then lengthen your spine, maybe straighten your left leg. Widen your right elbow to the right as you fold forward. It's just really nice for the spine and for the back to do postures such as this after all those back bends. Also calming for the nervous system, because the nervous system gets super amped up on back bends. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Slowly sit up. Extend your right leg forward. Paschimottanasana. Make sure your sitting bones are on the ground. Bent or straight knees. Take ribs to thighs. Grab shins, ankles, or feet. Push through your big toe edges. Lengthen. Widen elbows to the side. And take heart first, head last, toward your shins. And breathe here. Next inhale, slowly lengthen your spine. Sit up. Lie down on your back. Pull your right knee toward your torso. Grab your right thigh and push your thigh into your hands until your arms straighten. Take your right leg straighter. Extend your left leg to or toward straight along the floor. Push length through both legs. Deepen and lengthen your breath. Walk your hands up your right leg. Feel free to bend your right knee to grab your right big toe with first two fingers of your right hand and thumb. Take left arm along your left thigh, arm straight. Then open your right leg to the right, doing your best to keep your sacrum on the floor as you push both legs longer, straighter. especially through the inner edges. Next inhale, slowly sit back up. Lower your right foot. Pull your left thigh in. Grab your thigh with your hands. Push thigh into hands, hands into thigh. Maybe straighten left leg. Maybe straighten right leg. Reach through both feet. Extend through the top of your head. Slow, steady breathing. Walk your hands up your left leg. Grab your left big toe, first two fingers and thumb, knee bent or straight. And extend your right arm along your right thigh. Push your legs longer. Then open left leg slowly to the left. Keep your right hip on the floor. Slowly lift your leg back up. Lower your foot. Place both feet on the floor. Then take your right ankle on top of your left thigh, left knee, just like you did earlier on in class. Scoot your hips slightly to the right as you take your legs to the left, just like you did earlier. This time you have the option to grab your right foot with your left hand and your left foot with your right hand. Take your left thigh and heel back to the floor. Then turn more to your outer left hip, but scoot your rib cage to the left so your right shoulder is on the floor to the right. Then kick your right leg towards straight to the left. Your right shoulder might lift off the floor, that's fine. Just work it toward the floor, most importantly, that action. Turn your belly to the right, even though your legs are twisting to the left. Tibetan weaponry posture. Bend your knee, lift your legs back up, hips to center, switch the cross, roll over to your outer right hip. Stay here, grab your feet, opposite hand of foot or the foot closest to each hand, right heel back to your hip. Keep the twist, scoot your rib cage to the right, kick your left leg to the right. Keep your left hip reaching away from your left shoulder as you breathe here. Belly turning to the left. Bend your knee. Let go of your feet. Lift your legs back up, hips to center. Then from inside your legs, grab outside your feet. Happy baby. Push your feet up into your hands. Pull your hands down into your feet. Feel free to gently rock side to side, taking one knee closer to the floor than the other. Slide your hands to the tops of your ankles. Pull your heels toward your sitting bones. Then take your knees a little bit wider. Keep your arms engaged and your hands holding up your feet, but relax your legs here. Allowing a gentle pull with your legs on your arms to let your shoulders relax a little bit more. And then gravity to open your legs more to the side. Then use your arms to pull your legs back in. Wrap arms around your legs. Push knees into elbows, elbows into knees. Feel free to continue rocking on your spine. For Shavasana, feel free to rest in any posture that is most comfortable for you. If your back is tender and you need some extra lift on your legs, it can be helpful to roll up a blanket or place a pillow underneath your knees if you're lying on your back. It looks like this. And you want it so that your knees are above the blanket. That way, if your blanket was below your knees toward your calves, it would actually put strain on your back and legs, but this actually can help elevate your knees to relax your lower back a little bit more. A pillow is even better because it's higher up, so if your knees were like this, you'd get more relaxation. You can also rest with your feet wide, knees together for constructive rest, hands on your heart and on your belly. Just allowing yourself to fully relax into your posture, whatever your posture is here. To turn your attention more inward and to focus your attention on the space between your thoughts, seeing how long your attention can rest there. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Be here for 5 to 7 minutes and then gently go about your day. And be gentle with yourself no matter what unfolds for you. Take care.